I've played a lot of single player games over the years, but these are the games that completely pulled me into their worlds. Let's start with number 10.
Billions of people.
We don't have.
I'm usually not even a huge fan of open world games, especially zombie ones. But Days Gone genuinely made me want to spend more time with games like this. The story of the game is about former outlaw biker Dickens St. John. Discovers his wife Sarah, having been assumed dead, may still be alive, and goes on a quest to find her. Some of the best moments for me in this game is when I had to sneak through dark areas just trying to find fuel so I could refill my bike and get back on the road. Those moments were stressful, but in a really fun way. It always made me want to keep exploring more of the world instead of leaving it. And Deacon ended up being way more interesting than I expected. The more I played, the more I wanted to keep pushing the story forward just to see what would happen to him in the end. And once the hordes start showing up, the game gets even better. Whether you're sneaking through them trying to reach an objective, or just burning the entire horde down with traps, fire, and bullets, those moments are insanely fun. Days Gone is one of those games where you can completely lose yourself in the world if you give it a chance.
You know, people don't.
The first superhero movie I ever watched and genuinely loved was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. What made it special for me was the way Spider-Man moved through the city. Spider-Man 2018 was the first game that finally gave me the same feeling. Going from one side of the city to the other while flying between buildings generally makes you feel like you are Spider-Man. I spent so much time just web swinging around instead of even doing missions. And fighting all the classic Spider-Man villains was such a fun experience too. The action scenes are done really well, and the combat feels super satisfying once you start chaining combos together. You could just jump into the middle of everything and beat everyone up or do the mission in stealth mode. Both styles were fun, and honestly Dr. Octopus was one of the best parts of the story. Watching his relationship with Peter slowly change and seeing his transformation into a villain was done really well. If you want a single player with a fun story, great action, and that adrenaline rush of swinging through New York, Spider-Man is one of the best games you can play.
I will show her the path.
Honestly, I was never really a fan of remakes, but Resident Evil 4 completely changed my opinion. It showed how you can retell an old story after years, but this time with next-gen graphics, amazing lighting, and a much more immersive experience. Capcom really did an incredible job here. Resident Evil 4 Remake was one of the best moves they could have made. Playing as Leon in that cursed village feels amazing. In this game, you're trying to find and rescue Ashley, the president's daughter. Along the way, you face many terrifying and strange creatures. With very limited ammo and Leon's iconic kick attacks, you have to survive and finish the game. The dark environments combined with the tension and fear also bring a lot of excitement. You just want to keep playing to see what happens to Ashley and Leo in the end. If you're into action horror games or you played the original version, you should definitely experience this remake. It feels like a completely new game. One of the best things about Doom is that it lets you take all your anger and frustration out on demons in the most satisfying way possible. You're basically just tearing through demons non-stop, and it never gets boring. The story of Doom Dark Ages follows the Doom Slayer efforts to save humanity during a war against Hell. I love those moments where you could refill your ammo by using finishers in the middle of the fights, especially when everything around you turns into complete chaos. The graphics looks incredible and the game can easily keep you entertained for hours. Every time the Doom Slayer enters a fight and completely destroys everything in front of him, you genuinely feel unstoppable. And giant mesh sections were actually way more fun than I expected. One of my favorite moments in the whole game was whenever the dragon showed up. Flying through the skies, moving between destroyed cities and giant hell ships while riding a dragon looked absolutely insane. Even though the overall structure of the game can feel repetitive, sometimes it's still one of the most fun action experiences you can have, if you want pure chaos and non-stop combat.
Fire.
Jumping between cliffs, solving different puzzles, getting ready for combat, and experiencing pure adrenaline in cinematic moments. This is Uncharted: A Thief's End. Uncharted really feels like you're inside a movie, but you are in control of the main character. The action scenes and chase sequence give you a unique adrenaline rush that you rarely find in other games. Even after more than 10 years, it still delivers an amazing story and gameplay that can easily keep you engaged for hours. Beautiful environments, great lighting, and immersive design make you feel like you are actually inside the world with Nathan Drake, a character who has grown over time and reached his peak in A Thief's End. In this version, Nathan is older and you can feel his exhaustion during fights and exploration, but that makes him feel more real and relatable. The combat system is excellent and Naughty Dog once again proves they are master of third-person action games. Whether you're driving through Madagascar or escaping heavy gunfire, the game constantly keeps you on edge. Experience it if you haven't already, and hopefully we will see more of this series in the future.
Die with honor.
Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games that can completely pull you into the world of Japan, and honestly, I've always loved Japanese culture. Samurai, shinobi, ninjas, they're some of the coolest characters ever, and it feels like there are still so many untold stories about them. Ghost of Tsushima does such a good job bringing that world to life. The story follows Jin Sakai, a samurai from a respected Japanese clan during the Mongol invasion of Tsushima. And what makes the story really interesting is seeing Jin slowly move away from the traditional samurai code in order to save his people. That's where a lot of the best moments in the story come from. If you enjoy Japanese culture, sword fighting, and using stealth tools like a shinobi, this game gives you exactly that feeling better than most games do. The combat feels intense and satisfying. You can play quietly and sneak through enemy camps like a shinobi, or just walk straight into battle and test your sword skills against everyone. Riding your horse through the different areas of the map is one of the best parts of the game. Going through fields, forests, and cherry blossom trees while the wind guides you to your destination feels weirdly peaceful. Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games that absolutely deserves a spot on everyone's most played list.
You won't yet understand. Right?
The most unexpected game on this list is Clair, a game that no one expected to be so successful. A well-made game with a great idea and a wonderful story that will keep you engaged and fascinated for hours. This game is a combination of color, music, and a wonderful storyline. The story of the game is about a world every year when the paintress announces a number, people of that age disappear forever. Now Gustav and the members of Expedition 33 are trying to destroy the paintress and stop more people from dying. As you progress through the story, you'll discover shocking truths along the way. Every part of the game catches your eyes with its colors and you enjoy the beauty of its world. To be honest, during the first few hours, the only reason I kept playing was because of the beautiful environments. I wasn't happy with the turn-based combat system at all, and I thought the game would have been much better without it. But the further I got into the game, the more I realized that wasn't true. One of the reasons the game is so enjoyable is actually its turn-based combat. That combination is what helped Clair Obscur become one of the best game of the year and win so many awards. So if you're looking for a game that can keep you engaged for hours and give you a memorable experience, this is the game. I always wanted to experience the rage of Kratos, God of War once again, tearing enemies apart and fighting giant bosses several times bigger than Kratos. When the God of War 2018 was first announced, I was excited. I thought we would get the old angry Kratos again. But when I started playing, I saw something different, a tired older Kratos. A father protecting his young son and teaching him morals, even though he himself never had them. At first, I wasn't really convinced by this new version of Kratos. But as I kept playing, I slowly got more attached to the story and the character. This is a father who is trying to guide his son, Atreus, and prevent him from becoming a killing machine. He's teaching him lessons he never received himself. The game begins after the death of the Fae, Kratos' second wife and Atreus' mother, whose last request was for her ashes to be spread at the highest peak of the Nine Realms. The graphics are amazing, the combat is fantastic, and exploring the world of Norse mythology while fighting gods is just incredible. Even if you love the old version of Kratos and his rich, full personality, this version still delivers an amazing experience. Don't think Kratos has become weak, he's still the god of war.
Is she alive?
What girl? I don't know no girl.
This is my all-time favorite game. In my opinion, it's a masterpiece among all games. I absolutely love The Last of Us Part 1. Everything is perfectly combined. Beautiful environments and dark areas where you feel constant tension. You move forward carefully so you can survive and continue the story of Ellie and Joel. Ellie, this annoying girl at first, slowly becomes someone you empathize with. And Joel, this lovable man who has been through a lot, sometimes makes decisions that disappoint you. But that's exactly what makes the game so powerful. This game showed that you can still create an incredible story combined with amazing music and gameplay. Naughty Dog really proved they are master of storytelling. This story takes place in a world where a fungus has spread and turned people into zombie-like creatures. The main character, Joel, is tasked with escorting a young girl named Ellie to a specific location, and along the way, he must make difficult decisions to keep both of them alive. If you haven't played this game yet, it's time to experience its world.
Probably hang you, buddy.
Honestly, I have to admit I only played Red Dead Redemption 2 a few months ago. And after a couple hours of playing it, I immediately regretted not starting it sooner. I always saw people talking about how amazing it was, all the awards it won, how it's one of the best games ever made. But once I finally gave it a chance, I completely understood the hype. Just riding your horse through different towns and open fields feels relaxing on its own. And then you start doing random stuff like robbing, getting into trouble, hunting animals to complete the compendium, and suddenly hours disappear without you noticing. At the same time, I kept pushing through the story because I genuinely wanted to know what was gonna happen to Arthur Morgan and the gang. The characters are one of the best parts of the game. Even characters that get on your nerves like Dutch somehow makes the story even better. It feels like Rockstar thought about everything. If you want a game where you can completely lose yourself in a huge western world and just enjoy the journey, Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably one of the best games you can play.